Hey guys, I wanted to show you a quick basing tip and hope you enjoy. I wanted to jump on real quick and show you how I do basing for my miniatures, and I've done this before in the past with all different sizes miniatures. I used it with on bases for Flames of War things and GW and just anything that I use. I'm going to show you kind of what it ends up like, and I'll get some closer shots here in a minute, but this has got some kitty litter sprinkled in with what I do, but I wanted to show you how to do it and just give you some idea of an easy way to do it. I have this golden gel medium coarse pumice gel, and I have the fine pumice gel. I got these at Dick Blick maybe, or an art supply store, probably 8 or 10 years ago at least. And anyway, when I open them up, you can see what they are in them. This one is the fine one, which is basically just a gel, and I mix them to taste and just to figure out, not to actual taste, but just to figure out how much coarse rock and formation I want in it. And basically it gives me a good beginning to where I want to go with whatever I ended up putting on the base as well, like grass tufts or rocks or whatever. And of course you can use kitty litter and that kind of stuff, but this is something that I mix together, and I mix it together with just some general purpose ink. This is waterproof ink, and I just put things together, and I put it into a tub like this and seal it up. I don't have the other tub with me right now, but this tub will keep it sealed, and I've had the same stuff in it, and it keeps it wet, or wet enough to where I can still spread it on the minis. I might just add a little bit of water to whatever tool I'm using, but other than that, that's how I get it on there. And I'll talk a little bit more as I make it, but I'm going to show you just kind of what's going to go on here. So I'll start with just a little bit of this, and I'm going to use this, in this case I'm going to use one of these spatula deals here, and I'm going to get it just a little bit of water on it, not much. I don't want water to end up at the bottom here, but like you can see, I can mix it up. It's like a paint, basically a very thick paint, and I'm just going to put a little bit in right now just to show you this, and I'll come back later and make more as I need it. But I'm going to put that more here, about 2 of these in, maybe a little bit more. And again, you can change this later with the amount that you put in. Put into the recipe, so however much thickness you want. And then I'm just going to go in here, same spatula, I'm going to grab some of the coarse stuff and put it right on top there, and roughly the same amount. And keep that together, okay? And last but not least, I'm going to pour this ink on top. Now the ink, the deal with the ink is to make sure that you don't use too much. Now you could technically put whatever color you wanted on here. I prefer black on the bottom anyway, because I want that base to just have a good dark look to it anyway. So you could probably use brown inks or whatever you wanted to make, just to make it more of a ground colored basing. But I'm going to take just a little bit of this. I'm going to shake this. It's been a while since I've opened this. My other tub, just like this, has been used, like I said, for a long time, and I've mixed a whole lot. So last time, and it's probably down 2/3 of the way, but I have that at another place where I paint. So I'm gonna mix up a little bit here to use for some of the other ones that I'm put together. So like I said, I'll just jump on, and I'm just going to drop a little bit on here. Now the thing about this is very, very dense, and will give you a lot of color in what you're doing, so you don't want to overdo it with that ink. You'll see here, this should mix up to a good gray that I like as well. And you can see it just kind of mixes together, and this is relatively what the consistency will be when you finish anyway, but it just makes this goop, and like I said, it's just the foundation of everything that I put on a base. Then I can add things to it. Now here's the other thing that I like about this stuff. It's gritty, it's got a little texture to it obviously, and like I said, you can make it as coarse or as smooth as you wanted. I did not get the medium kind because I just figured the medium pumice gel because I just figured I could just mix in a little less of the coarse stuff if I wanted it to be a medium. But that's pretty good about right there. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to pause it for just a second and show you just kind of how to spread it around and talk you through a couple of the other things that go on. So, okay, I wanted to show you how I put this on here, and this miniature is almost finished. It's got a little bit more work to do, shading and that kind of stuff, but one of the things that I do from time to time is I'll put this mixture on the base even before I've stuck the miniature down. And all I do when I stick the miniature down is make sure I coat the bottom of his feet, if I'm not drilling the miniature, coat the bottom of the feet with glue after I've spread this mixture on there, this basing mixture. I'll do it with super glue, and then I'll just press down and to make sure that the feet make contact with the base. Now, if you don't like to do that, you can do what I'm about to do here. You just need to be careful. Again, I've got these little plastic palette knives. This is what I use sometimes to put it on there. Most of the time I'll use metal, and the thing about this stuff is it's a lot like green stuff in that you want to have like a wet knife or something to put in there. So I'm going to keep dipping into water over here and coming back to this, and that'll help me spread it. I also have on the side, I have this. I have an old toothbrush. It's not a toothbrush, guys. Old paintbrush, and the paintbrush has been worn out, and it's a crappy one anyway. But I'm just going to get that wet to be able to stick it, push things back in there. The dental tools are the best thing. Those metal, I don't know if they're carving knives or whatever you call them, but I don't have those with me right now. But that's usually what I use to spread things around and just make sure I'm really careful. Now, if I do get some on the model, it's not going to be the end of the world, because at the end of the day, I end up having just a little bit more, stuff on the model anyway. So, and if it gets on their boots, then that just becomes part of the mud that gets stuck to their boots. So, you can see here, these are based with a urban kind of look to it. And again, I put kitty litter and some other little bit bigger pieces of rock and that kind of stuff in there, cork. So I just wanted this to be this way, but I will tell you that I've put, in the past, I've painted this up after it's done and made it as grassy and as brown and light brown and things like that. If you were going to go snow, I would probably just stay a little bit more with the little less coarse pumice and just stay with more of the fine stuff anyway, and then just leave it white, and then it'll dry just all by itself. And like I said here, I'm just going to put a little bit on the model here, and I'm going to make sure that I put enough on to where I can just kind of push it around after I put it on here. So I'll go a little bit here, and just a little bit more there, and back here as well. Okay. Just like that. Right, so you can see it's I can get it to spread around just a little bit more if I want. If I'm not near the model, I'm a little bit more bold with this palette knife. If I get too close to the actual model, then I'll get in there with a brush or a toothpick or anything. Like I said, you might want to use or you definitely want to put some water on whatever it is. It keeps you from sticking to it. This, of course, is a little bit more time-consuming than just putting it down before, but I've never had a miniature come off a base after I do it this way, and I've even sometimes with Flames of War things, I've conveniently or accidentally left off some super glue, and those still even stick to the miniatures because you're going to get a little bond to this stuff when you're finished with it. So, again, I'm going to go in with some water on my paintbrush, and now I'm going to kind of push this around a little bit more. And as it dries, it will shrink a little bit too. So if I'm a little too thin with it, yeah, you can actually pick up the base again. So I don't mind pushing right up against the model just to make sure we get all these places covered. And go over here on this side of it and do the same thing. This dries generally within about 24 hours. So, and then a lot of times I'll put this on even before I prime and use the airbrush to just go over this too, and it kind of gives you another area of securing everything to the model. So use an old brush, by the way, here. Don't use your good stuff. I can go in there if I want with some, like I said, with some kitty litter here. The other thing I can do is take part of this stuff and I can put it on the model, or put it into a different container and put, before I put it on the model, and mix in some of the larger chunks so they're kind of more organically involved there. But I also don't have a problem because I'm going to go back and paint over this in a little bit. I also don't have a problem with just sticking the extra kitty litter and things like that on there to let it dry. Just like I said with the model, I don't think I've ever had any pieces of stuff come off of there either, so stuff bonds pretty good to whatever it is that it's sticking to. Maybe if you were handling it, you might coat the kitty litter as well with the super glue just before you stick it down. But this is basically what it's going to look like. So you can see that. I am done with that. All I would do is tidy up some areas and, like I said, stick some other things down that I want down there, maybe some grass tufts or whatever. This is going to be more of a urban look, so I'm not going to do that right now, but as I do that, let me just show you. I can get some of these out. Now I'm going to grab some of my other basing materials and I can stick them in there. Now I'm not going to put any on there. I'm not going to put any glue on here or anything, so I'm just going to grab a couple of these things and randomly, if I can get it to hold here, randomly drop them in, and I will push them into the substance just a little bit, but not very much. Doesn't take very much to hold, and kind of randomly put some of these things down. I've got some things here from Gale Force 9 and that kind of stuff too, so but what I'm looking for in this urban basing is more just big chunks of stone that have been come off of buildings and things like that too, so I can just tap those down a little bit. Now all these will be painted over again too, so I'm not worried about the color differences too, and if you're looking at that going, I don't know if I'd have done that, that's basically what happens. Some other things that I know about this stuff is it's there whenever I need it, so it doesn't matter if I've forgotten or if for some reason I don't want to add the stuff until after I paint it. It's okay. You got to be more careful that way. I do think that once you're comfortable with it, you can try a lot of different things with it. The mixture, like I said, takes about 24 hours to completely dry, and then you can dry brush or do whatever you want over the top of that too. And I'll come back and show you some of the final deals later. After I finish this one, I'll put a picture of that on there too. But anyway, it's a super easy way to do it. I know the key is finding the golden pumice gel, and just give you a good look at that again. This is the stuff that I got, and then these come in smaller things too. This one's the 32 ounce deal, and there's the coarse one, and then the other one is the medium, the fine pumice gel. But these are again at, see the middle there, art supply stores. Super easy, super fast. That's the coarse stuff. So I hope that helps a lot, and I hope you can find it, because it saves me a ton of time trying to figure out what's going on, and when it dries it'll be exactly what I want it to be. Another close-up of the kind when it dries. And this has been painted as well, and you know. Anyway, I hope that helps. You know, like or subscribe or share or do whatever it is you kids do these days. And I'll see you next time.